I'll tell you, I'm genuinely optimistic because so much is beginning to happen. And because I believe in our ingenuity and our capacity. I know President Biden does. I've heard him talk about it. He believes we can do anything. You've heard him say it. And think about it. We are the country that went to the moon. And we didn't know how we were going to get there when President Kennedy announced that goal, but we did it. We are the country that invented the internet. Some people might regret that today, but we did that. We also got vaccines that are working, and we've shown we have the ability to get them out and put them in people's arms. So I believe that we have the ability.
That was U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate John Kerry expressing his confidence that the country will make the emission reduction goals set yesterday by President Biden. Joining us now, White House National Climate Advisor Gina McCarthy, who helped establish the new emissions goals announced by President Biden yesterday. Great to have you back on the show. I'd like to ask you about that goal, and I'm looking at all the countries and the businesses that are involved in this summit. You've got all the big players at the table, but what's going to make something actually happen?
Well, the U.S. is back. That will make things happen, and we're bringing the world leaders together to tell them that. And really, the commitment we made was to send a very clear signal about the seriousness of what we're doing and have to get done on climate, and that the U.S. is interested in leading again. And it's very exciting because nothing has happened for about 4 years, even in the international community. And so we have to keep moving forward. But the fun thing is, and the tee-up was right, I am actually running off to do a jobs panel at a climate summit. And people might wonder why. And the reason is when Joe Biden hears climate, he thinks jobs and vice versa. Because what we put on the table was a strong commitment, but it's based on the understanding that clean energy in the United States is an area where we are growing jobs. It is not an area where we're going to be sacrificing. There's opportunities of the future here. And the president is interested in moving his American Jobs Plan forward so that we can make the kind of investments that's going to grow really good paying union jobs and bring real opportunity back to the United States to grab the future again, reignite our manufacturing, spend money on our transmission grid, because if we don't, we'll have more problems like we had in Houston, Texas. You know, it is time for us to invest in our own country and to grab that future for ourselves. That's what this is all about.
And absolutely on a nuts and bolts level, it is key to integrate jobs with the goal. You mentioned the U.S. is back. Can you talk about the challenges given the past 4 years about perhaps making sure that the United States' credibility to its commitment on these issues is put back in place?
Mika, we've been asked that question a bunch of times, but if you were at the summit, you would get a great sense that other countries are welcoming us back because they know that we have a worldwide challenge and they need the United States to stand up and be counted. That's what yesterday was about. That's what the conversation is. But the most important thing is that, President Biden has created a people plan, not a climate plan. He has made people understand that climate change is a problem. But the unbelievably interesting thing is that he's made it real for people again. He's told them, yes, we're going to move out away from this pandemic, and we're going to build hope and opportunity again. And so he's made it all about jobs, all about good housing, all about our roads and bridges, and yes, our transit system, our airport system. He's told people that in this country we can invest in ourselves and it will work for all of us and build that middle class again. And we're going to make sure that it's paid for not by people who make $400,000 or less, but by corporations who haven't done their fair share. So it's going to right the ship in the United States, not just make sure that we're taking care of our planet. That's why people are excited about it. That's why we're going to move forward and we're going to get this done.
Gina, it's Kasie Hunt. I want to ask you about the mine workers and the work that you're doing more broadly to try to bring along people who are worried about being left behind, worried that the jobs they have or they've had in the past won't come along into this. And there has been some confusion. Initially, we had reported that the mine workers were enthusiastically backing the plan. Now they're saying, well, we like some of this, but we really actually want as many coal jobs to remain as possible. How do you reassure those people that there's a place for them?
Well, look, President Biden in this plan has left everything on the table, all kinds of solutions. So we know that there's real opportunity with carbon capture and sequestration to actually make sure that we're retaining that carbon and putting it in, sequestering it under the ground. But if you want to look at this, Casey, the president has been very clear since day one that a transition has been happening away from coal and other fossil fuels to clean energy. And that transition is economically bound. It's about what's less expensive. And so with eyes wide open, we went into this acknowledging that challenge, saying we're developing a plan, we're releasing that plan. And just last week, we had Senator Manchin and we had Cecil Roberts, who is the president of the United Mine Workers, standing up and saying, we are backing President Biden's plan. And so they know that there's a transition, but they need help and they need jobs. And we're bringing jobs to them now, jobs that they can have in their own communities, jobs that match their skill set. And we're going to spend money on training. We're not going to leave any worker or any community behind.
Gina McCarthy, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be watching all of this play out today, and we really appreciate your coming on the show this morning.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.